Right now at noon, new details of the woman who was rescued after falling off a cliff.
And we are live in Parsons for the last of our great American flag swaps on another warm and breezy day here in the 4 states. We'll have the latest on the flag swap and your forecast coming up.
Plus, a defiant Donald Trump clashed with prosecutors and the judge. We hear all the latest details from inside the New York City courtroom.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. In today's top story, authorities respond to reports of a woman falling off the Bluff Trail in Wildcat Glades in Joplin. It happened just after 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Responders believe the woman fell 30 to 40 feet near the area known as Mother Nature's Crack. Rescuers had to launch a boat and approach from the water to get her to an ambulance. Authorities say the victim was injured but responsive. And for more updates on the story, download the KOAM News Now app. Authorities in Jasper County arrest 3 people and recover more than $90,000 worth of stolen property. Authorities say 48-year-old Kenneth Rippin, 36-year-old Christopher Gordon, and 62-year-old Terry Ward worked together to steal $92,000 worth of equipment, including a pickup truck, a flatbed trailer, 3 lawnmowers, and landscaping tools. Most of the equipment was recovered on September 11th. That's also when Pippin was arrested. Gordon and Ward were arrested last Thursday during a follow-up investigation. All 3 are being charged with felony stealing. And now let's take it over to our very own Chris Warner, who's in Parsons live for the Great American's Flag Swap. Chris, how's it going out there?
Well, so far so good. Folks have actually been getting here a little bit early, so we still have flags for the Great American Flag Swap, but you want to make sure that you get down here as quickly as you can before supplies run out. We are at the creek right next to the Walmart, right across from that. We're in the field right across from there, so if you're looking for us, all you have to do is just come down here. We're easy to spot. We've got the big KOAM tent up there as well, so you'll be able to find us, and you can see our sales team, Haley and Rye, 2 of them out here, handing out these flags as people pull on up. In fact, here goes one of those exchanges right now. So bring us your used, torn, or damaged American flags, and we will replace them with one brand new one for you, and we'll make sure that the old ones are properly recycled. In fact, that'll be taking place on Veterans Day, thanks to the Boy Scouts of America. Let's take a look at our forecast now. Downtown Joplin, our camera there on the Cornell Complex, you can see we've got those clear sunny skies. You can also see it is breezy. MoDOT camera 20th and range line also showing us plentiful sunshine. Check this out. Yesterday, started the day at 61. Our average high is 62. Made it up to 78, only 3 degrees off of a record high for us yesterday. So we're going to be dangerously close to some records again today and tomorrow. 77 in Joplin right now, 76 in Pittsburgh with those clear skies. We're sitting at 76 here in Parsons, 78 Oswego. Look down to the south, already in the 80s, Miami, Welch, and Bonita. And as you go through the rest of the evening, it's going to be mild, it's going to be clear, it's going to be breezy. South winds gusting upwards of 25 miles an hour out there as we eventually fall back into the 60s across the area. We're going to have more from the Great American Flag Swap, including an interview with Mr. Business Brief himself, Rye Addis, here in just a few more minutes. And we'll take a look at your complete forecast and talk about a cool down that's on the way here in just a few minutes as well. Caitlin?
All right, thanks, Chris. We look forward to talking to you more about the Great American Flag Swap later on in the show. And for you at home, there's still time to trade out your old flags for a new one. Just head over to Tolan Creek Trails. It's located right across the street from the Walmart parking lot in Parsons, Kansas. We'll be there until 1:30 p.m. And finally, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces increased support for survivors of domestic violence. Kansas is receiving $1.6 million in federal grants to help prevent family, domestic, and dating violence, to support victims, and to increase non-custodial parents' time with their children safely. Hope Unlimited in Allen County receives a total of more than $60,000, and Safe House Crisis Center in Crawford County will receive more than $90,000. And that's a look at today's top stories and weather in the 4 states region. Up next on KOAM News at Noon, why the outburst from Trump prompted the judge to tell his lawyers to control him. We'll have the latest on the civil trial that threatens Trump's empire. And later, we're making spoon bread in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Stay tuned. Carbon monoxide poisoning is being blamed for the death of 3 people in Kansas City, Missouri Monday. One victim, a 14-year-old boy.
KCFD has not released the name of the 3 people that died of carbon monoxide poisoning inside of this Kansas City, Missouri home.
It's devastating.
Responders answered the call this morning when one of the residents didn't show up for work.
The first crews on the scene made entry into the home and discovered 3 males that were deceased from potential carbon monoxide exposure. Their detectors were getting high levels of carbon monoxide, so they went ahead and backed out of the structure.
The cause of the carbon monoxide, a gas generator running inside of the home.
To my knowledge, there were no utilities to the structure. They had been shut off.
Leaving the occupants to rely on the generator for power.
When we start getting in this time of year, when the weather starts getting a little cooler, regardless of the size of the engine, whether if it's a combustible engine that's putting off exhaust, you should never operate it indoors.
In this case, the results were fatal. 3 lives lost, 1 a teenage boy.
Anytime there's a loss of life, but when a child's involved, you know, that makes it even harder. And then from a fire service standpoint, you know, a lot of the fatalities we see are preventable.
Police say the victims were all males ranging in age from 14 to 42 years old. And explosive moments inside a Manhattan courtroom Monday as former President Donald Trump testified in the $250 million civil fraud case brought against him and his company by New York's Attorney General.
Because I want to be here, because it's a scam.
A defiant Donald Trump clashed with prosecutors and the judge inside a New York City courtroom Monday.
He's not backing down.
When asked for yes or no answers by the New York State Attorney, Trump instead rambled, prompting the judge to threaten to cut his testimony short. Trump and other defendants, including his children, have already been found liable for fraud in the case as part of a $250 million lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General Letitia James.
The numbers don't lie, and Mr. Trump obviously can engage in all of these distractions, and that is exactly what he did.
The Attorney General's office accused Trump of inflating his assets, including Mar-a-Lago, Trump Tower, and his Seven Springs family estate by more than $2 billion in order to gain better financial terms.
That is illegal. The normal person cannot inflate value of properties in order to get a benefit.
Amid the clashes Monday, Trump notably acknowledged that he has had a role in valuing his empire's property, saying, quote, "I would look at them, I would see them, and I would maybe on occasion have some suggestions." When asked by the state attorney whether he ever thought the values were off or inaccurate, Trump responded, yes, on occasion, both high and low. Chanel Call, CBS News, New York.
Now that the judge has already found Trump and his company liable for fraud, this remainder of the trial will help determine how much Trump will have to pay in penalties. In addition to the $250 million that the Attorney General's office is seeking, it's also looking to bar Trump and his children from doing business in New York. While the former president's eldest daughter, Ivanka, is set to testify tomorrow, his lawyers have signaled that they will soon file a motion for a mistrial. Still to come on KOAM News at Noon. We see what's cooking with Mr. Food.
Join us as we rediscover some of our favorite holiday dishes. Just wait until you see what we're cooking today.
Plus, we are live in Parsons for the last of our Great American Flag Swaps, brought to you by, this time, Day and Zimmerman. We're going to have more on the flag swap and those fall-like temperatures that are on the way when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. We're live in Parsons at Tolan Creek, which is directly across from Walmart, so that you can find us for our last Great American Flag Swap. And this tall gentleman here, well, everybody's tall compared to me. This is Rye Addis, our General Sales Manager. So Rye, you guys have seen him on the 4 State Business Briefs. now he is going to be briefed by us. And our first question to you is, tell us a little bit about the sponsor for this one, because I know we've had various sponsors along the way for the flag swap.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here. Day & Zimmerman is our sponsor for the Parsons flag swap. You know, when we came to them and said we want to do something around Veterans Day, they immediately said, yeah, we want to be on board. They're the nation's leading manufacturer when it comes to ammunition for our nation's military, and definitely a great company here in Parsons.
Absolutely. And so we were talking about the flag swap. This is the last one we're doing for this year. What was the inspiration behind all this? How did this come to be?
Yeah, you know, being patriotic is something our community is very much about. You know, you've seen a lot of the things we do on KOAM and Fox regarding ways to just support America. And this is an idea that we got from one of our sister stations where, hey, you know what, it's a chance to, A, get new flags out to the community, but B, to properly retire those flags, because there's a lot of people who've been holding on to old flags for 10, 15 years. They don't know what to do with them, Chris. So by giving them to us, actually this Veterans Day, we're partnering with the Boy Scouts of America to retire those flags properly and safely.
All right, Rye, thank you so much for joining us today. And you'll see more of Rye for more future business briefs. And, of course, we are going to be here at Tolan Creek until 1:30 or until supplies run out. And, folks, we're lining up early today to come on out here and start swapping those flags out. So make sure you take time to visit us one more time. We're at Tolan Creek, directly across from Walmart here in Parsons. Let's talk about the forecast, because today doesn't feel too much like fall, does it? It is warm. In fact, yesterday we were just 3 degrees shy of a record high out there. Right now, MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin. We've got sunny skies. Same from our camera on the Cornell complex in downtown Joplin. Clear but breezy. KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh on US 69, also showing us that plentiful sunshine out there. Same from our camera. Remember, this is going to come in handy when we see the snow, which, I'm not saying we have snow in our forecast yet, but just keep in mind we're not that far away from winter here in the 4 states. All right, 77 in Joplin. We actually have a heat index of 79, and we got the south breeze at about 14 miles an hour. Over in Pittsburgh, 76, feels like 76, south breeze at 10, still could see those southerly winds gusting upwards of 25. Check out the 80s in Miami and Veneta right now. We're at 76 here in Parsons, 75 Fort Scott, and a little cooler off to the northwest, 72 Yates Center, and you head just a little south and southeast, you get 75 Neodesha and 77 in Chanute. The winds are going to continue to be a problem for us as we go through this evening and into tomorrow. In fact, overnight tonight, wind gusts will actually increase out of the south, and then as we head into tomorrow, we're actually going to see the wind begin to shift direction, but still be gusty out there. Highs today still looking to push right around 80 degrees, gusty winds at about 25 miles an hour, so we're about 10 to 15 degrees above where we're supposed to be for this time of year. Overnight lows tonight into the mid-60s. Winds start gusting out of the south at 30. And as we head into our Wednesday, temperatures once again pushing near 80. And some low 80s definitely possible out there. And the winds will shift out of the west by the afternoon, and they'll be gusting up to 35, potentially even 40 miles an hour in some areas. So that's 2 things to keep in mind, though. The first part of your day, the winds will be out of the south, but by the afternoon, they'll shift out of the west. So if you're traveling, just bear in mind those shifting winds. However, strong cold front comes through Wednesday night. Unfortunately, it doesn't give us much in the way of precipitation, but it does drop our temperatures to fall-like levels as we fall below average Thursday and Friday. Then we'll level out, be in the mid-60s as we head into the weekend and into next week. However, with our highs dropping to normal levels, that means our lows will drop to normal levels. So get ready for some chilly mornings out there as we'll be starting in the 40s. So again, live in Parsons from Tolan Creek, right across from Walmart. Here you can come in. We're doing the last of our Great American Flag Swaps. Still have flags left. We're here until 1:30 or until supplies run out. So make sure you stop by and get that old flag traded in for a new one. Caitlin?
All right, thanks, Chris. Keep up the good work out there. Well, stick around because we're making spoon bread in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. We'll be right back. It's time to check in with Howard in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Today he's making an Americana classic that first made its way across the South before making its way across the country. It's called spoon bread. Take a look.
With the holidays right around the corner, we've been going through our recipes and setting aside ones that we think would be a huge hit on your holiday table. One that we retested recently that got a double thumbs up is a recipe that we first came across when we taped some shows in Colonial Williamsburg. It's an old-fashioned spoon bread, and boy, is it easy. We start by simmering some milk and water in a saucepan. To that, we add some cornmeal, a bit of butter, a little sugar, and some salt. After this thickens up, we take it off the heat. While that sits for a sec, we beat a few eggs with some baking powder until it's light and fluffy. Then we stir the eggs into the cornmeal mixture, and when it's well mixed, we pour it into a baking dish. This gets baked for 45 minutes or so until the top is golden and the whole thing sort of puffs up. That's it. Now all you have to do is spoon up this classic colonial side dish along with the rest of your holiday favorites. Yup, that's why they call it spoon bread. The recipe for our old-fashioned spoon bread is online now, so you can add it to your holiday lineup. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an all-American way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
To find this recipe, along with many others, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on Mr. Food. Now here's a look at your Ford State Market prices.
All right, we are live again in Parsons at Tolan Creek, which is just directly across from Walmart for our last Great American Flag Swap brought to you by Day and Zimmerman. Oh, I forgot to take this. It's sunny out here. So make sure you come by. We're here until 1:30 or until we run out of flags. Bring your old, worn, tattered flags to us. We'll give you a new one in exchange, and then we'll make sure that the old ones are properly recycled. In fact, they'll be taken care of on Veterans Day by the Boy Scouts of America. On to our forecast today. A great day for Haley and Rye to be standing out here passing out these flags because we're going to be warm, near 80, low 80s, very likely in most places. Near 80, low 80s again tomorrow. Gusty winds tomorrow pushing 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour, shifting out of the west. Cold front comes through tomorrow night. Gets us below average Thursday and Friday, and then we get back to average heading into the weekend. Mid-60s for highs and 40s for the lows. Caitlin?
All right, thanks, Chris. It's a great event. I love our flag swaps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what do you have for us tonight?
Well, a lot coming up at 5. It's estimated as many as 25% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. That's according to the National Library of Medicine. It can be one of the most heartbreaking and challenging times, but we learn how one woman transformed her pain into purpose. Plus, it's election day in parts of the 4 states. We're going to have more about what's bringing folks to the polls. And a new app hopes to help protect students and allow them to report threats. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at Noon. Have a great rest of your day.